Welcome to the Viiinceshow. I'm Viiinceshow. I got a good show today. We're going to be talking about Facebook a little bit. Yeah, Facebook. Your favorite little social network site. Are they getting face recognition software? Do they already have it? We'll talk about that in a minute. And who are the Syrian rebels fighting the Syrian president's regime? We'll talk about that a little later too. It'll probably surprise you. Or it probably won't. Who knows? That's what we're going to talk about it. Viiinceshow. Hi, this is the Viiinceshow. I'm Viiinceshow. Of course, we're going to talk about some things today. Like I said, we're going to talk about Facebook's face recognition software, and are they using it? Are they going to use it? What's happening with that? And the Syrian rebels, who are they? Who is it that's fighting the Syrian president Bashar al-Assad's regime? We're going to talk about that in a minute too. This is the fourth show. If anybody who's new to watching this, I'm pretty sure I got that in the title. But just in case you didn't know, I never had a show before. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this. But I love it. I love reporting stuff to you. Was gonna have some guests on today, but they flaked out, I guess. Hey. It happens. But, we're going to push on. We're going to keep going because I'm doing this for a reason. And, a lot of people may think I'm kind of soft on the issues or whatever, and I'm not getting to what I want to get to, but I'm not going to go off on a banter and start going, with conspiracy theories and stuff. I'm going to do real reports, real research, and kind of get in-depth in what's going on, what's really going on, and try to let you know that this is a logical, rational mind telling you things and not a bantering fool looking for a release because he feels isolated from regular society. I'm not saying that I am that or anybody else is that. I'm just saying that I want the integrity. I want the credibility. I don't want to be just another person spitting rhetoric about the government's bad and we need to fight the power. I want to tell you what the powers are, and I'm going to tell you why we're fighting, and everything in between, and anything else that happens, for that matter. And like I said, it's not going to be all gloom and doom. I plan on going on a zombie walk. I'm going to report that. I plan on doing a few things. That's going to be our Halloween show, I think. The zombie walk. I think that'll be our Halloween show. I think that'll be fun. And I've been putting out a show every few days. I think I'm going to go to a show a week because this is hard work. This is very hard work. And finding stories is very hard work too. And it's just me, like I said. And if anybody wants to help, you're more than welcome to help me. We can do it together. We can fight the power. But, right now it's just me, and like I said, it's hard finding stories. It's hard finding stories. It's hard rehearsing. It's hard writing this stuff. It's hard editing, and I work a real job, too. I don't get paid to do this. I'm not a trust fund baby or anything like that. I have to pay my bills, so I have a real job that I have to go to every single day, plus I do this. So, anyway, let's not even talk about that because this is the Viiinceshow, and we don't talk about stuff like that. Just getting that out of there. We're going to take a sip of coffee and we're getting right into it. That is good. It is the middle of the night. how we do it here on the Viiinceshow Show, in the middle of the night. And we're gonna get into a little bit of news here. Let's just see what's in the news. We're gonna go to USA Today. Let's see what USA Today has to say about themselves. I'm gonna get into some top stories. USA Today. Let's see. New tropical storm warning as Isaac approaches. Okay, that's very old. It took a minute for my phone to update, but let's look. Number 2 Alabama humiliates number 8 Michigan. It's Alabama. I don't know. Okay, I'm here in Michigan, and I don't know what you thought was going to happen. This is Bama we're talking about, like one of the best defenses ever, one of the best running back cores. I mean, it's running back you now. I mean, Michigan didn't stand a chance. I mean, Denard Robinson is terrible. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He's not a great quarterback. He's just not a good quarterback. I'm sorry. He's not. Duh. Anyway, I know that I'm probably going to catch heat for that, but let's see. GOP is sticking it to the middle class. When do they don't? I mean, it's a bunch of rich people, you know, and they're snobby, and they don't want regular life. They want to ride around in one-button touch cars and touch screen this and navigation that, and, you know, just no humanity in those people. Police rescue kidnapped girl in Las Vegas. A 17-year-old Nevada girl saved after a 24-hour kidnapping ordeal. Her 2 alleged abductors have been arrested. That is probably the best story I've heard in a long time. Love a story where somebody gets caught for a real crime. Eastwood is gift to late-night comedian. Come on. Leave Clint Eastwood alone. Leave him alone. It was funny what he did. I thought it was funny. It was funny. Guy was funny. Let's see. A loss in progress for Penn State. Well, duh. I mean, come on. Penn State. And that's pretty much all I really wanted to talk about in the news. I mean, there's certainly 5 possible profitable investments for QE3. Democrats to live stream Obama's convention. Gulfstream slowly recovering after garbage. Anyway, except for the girl getting rescued, kudos. Glad to see that somebody's doing their job. Alright, let's get into it. Is Facebook getting face recognition? Are they going to use it without your permission? Will it be another instance like it or not, here it comes like Timeline? I mean, at first when you got on your Facebook, they were like, hey, try this Timeline. It's not Skip. I was always like, Skip. Don't care. Facebook is fine the way it is. But no, they didn't think so. They were like, no, we think Timeline is better, and so now we are going to have Timeline. And so, you know, all of a sudden I had Timeline, and I'm like, what the hell is this? And you know, it doesn't matter. You're going to have it. Whether you like it or not. Facebook is going to do whatever they want. Is it necessary to have face recognition on Facebook? I mean, really, do you need that? And here's a better question. Are they using it already? Now, this is something that you may not know about Facebook. Facebook saves all your information. Everything. Everything that you've ever done on the computer, they got. Everything that you've ever done on Facebook. Every single chat message, every single poke or prod, or every single little phone number change. Anytime you put anything on Facebook, they have it forever. It's not deleted. They don't erase it at all. If they say they do in their little terms of agreement, which you never read, they're lying, because they keep it. They've kept it all. Every picture, everything you've ever put on Facebook, they have somewhere, locked up in some data storage unit somewhere. I just imagine like some warehouse that says Facebook storage. I don't know. Anyway, now the German View report says that the German Data Protection Authority has decided to reopen an inquiry into Facebook's facial recognition. Now the reason why they're doing that is because Facebook is not complying with privacy laws. You know, they're doing whatever they want, basically. The inquiry was set up by the Hamburg Data Protection Agency, which centers on Facebook's photo tag suggest feature, which analyzes photo uploads to the social networking site and automatically matches faces to the site's members using facial recognition software, which basically means that when you get tagged in a photo, if you've ever noticed, if you tag somebody in a photo, a name might pop up, and it might be that person. And you're like, you know, how did Facebook know that I was tagging this person? Because they already have a picture on there. Well, if you already have a picture on there and somebody's tagging you in another picture and your name pops up and they're like, do you want to tag so-and-so in this picture? Boom. And then you're tagged in the picture. But let's say you didn't want to be tagged in that picture. You don't have to get anybody's consent, and nobody has to confirm a tag in a picture. And that's what the inquiry is about. It's kind of intrusive when you think about it, and nobody really thinks about that, But the thing that's alarming to me is that none of this stuff is erased. They don't erase any of your information at all, and only when Facebook threatened to go to the Irish Data Protection Agency did the German Protection Agency negotiate an agreement with Facebook. Now, at first, the German Protection Agency wanted to get consent and confirmation from the user for Facebook. Facebook was like, no. And they were like, and the German Data Protection Agency was like, yeah. And Facebook was like, no. And went back and forth, and then the German Protection Agency was like, no, you have to. And then Facebook was like, well, we'll go somewhere else then. And then the German Data Protection Agency was like, wait, hold on, buddy. Let's come to some agreement. And I guess they came to an agreement, to agree to disagree. And the German Data Protection Agency is, their protection agency. I didn't do a lot of background research on the German Data Protection Agency because I wanted to keep this short and sweet, and it's already gone on a little bit longer than I wanted to. But we're going to keep hammering on here. The Hamburg Commissioner for the Data Protection and Freedom of Information, Professor Dr. Johannes Kasper, reopened the inquiry after Facebook told the agency it was unwilling to make concessions beyond agreeing to stop collecting new facial profiles, which is a very broad area. I mean, they could be talking about not collecting new data for old users or new data for new users, but you really don't know. I mean, any lawyer can poke a hole in that if they want to keep collecting facial data. I mean, any good lawyer can poke a hole all through that. Biometric database containing millions of faces has the immense potential for being misused, and everybody knows that. I mean, information is power, and when you have power like that, not only the biometrics database, but just the database of having everybody's information. And if you've ever bought anything through Facebook, then they have that information too. Okay, so if you've ever went through a link and put your credit card on Facebook. If you ever went through a link on Facebook and put your credit card on Facebook, they have your credit card information. So, I'm not trying to scare you out of using Facebook, because if you've already done that, they already have that information. Erasing or deleting your Facebook will not do anything. They already have your information. You're already screwed. The Hamburg Commissioner, Dr. Johannes Kasper, also states that it is regrettable that Facebook has not used the chance for a consensual solution, but is obviously playing for time. However, we will resume administrative proceedings. Facebook has detailed knowledge of our legal opinion, and they are welcome to inform us about an acceptable method of obtaining consent by the concerned user or confirmation of the deletion of the collected facial data at any time. Facebook knows that its facial recognition software conflicts with the European and German laws, and probably would conflict with U.S. laws if it wasn't for the Patriot Act. But we'll get into that later. Right now we're going to talk about Syria. Now, there's a war going on in Syria, the civil war, and it's against the president of Syria, Bashar al-Assad, and his regime. Well, and it's versus the Syrian rebels. Now, who are the Syrian rebels? Well, apparently it's Al-Qaeda. And if you don't remember who Al-Qaeda is, they made a cameo when it caused 9/11, basically. They were the group that took responsibility for it, apparently, and the U.S. government blames for 9/11, September 11th, 2001. They killed 3,000 people in New York City and in Washington, D.C., and in Pennsylvania. Al-Qaeda is a global terrorist militant Islamic organization founded by Osama bin Laden, remember him, between 1988 and 89, with origins being traced back to the Soviet war in Afghanistan. The senior U.S. Council of Foreign Relations says Free Syrian Army needs Al-Qaeda. And apparently we are funding Al-Qaeda, giving them weapons to fight the Syrian regime. Now, why are we giving Syrian rebels Al-Qaeda, not the Syrian people? Well, why are we giving Al-Qaeda weapons to fight the Syrian army, the Syrian president's regime? It's awful strange, if you ask me. If somebody broke into my house, right, and I seen that guy across the street fixing my neighbor's car, I wouldn't loan him tools. That's the metaphor, the analogy that I come up with when I think about that. And I know that, it doesn't necessarily put it in perspective, but I mean, what does the American government, the U.S. government, think that Al-Qaeda is going to do? Like, what if they do overthrow the government? What do they think Al-Qaeda is going to do? Just back off? Or are we just going to, persecute them again? Well, what if they don't overthrow, the government? What does Al-Qaeda think the U.S. government is going to do with them? I mean, it's weird in a way that why would Al-Qaeda trust the U.S. and why would U.S. trust Al-Qaeda? The only reason why you would trust somebody like that is if you had some sort of agreement already, I think. I mean, is it logical to think that they've been working together all along? Would it be logical to think that Al-Qaeda somehow has ties with the U.S. government that we don't know about? Is that a logical assumption to make? And I mean, all this information is true. You can look it up yourself. I mean, I'm not making any of this stuff up. I did research on this. So it's not untrue. Al-Qaeda is fighting the Syrian president's regime. Al-Qaeda allegedly was the terrorist group that carried out 9/11, and the reason why we've been at war for 10 years with Iraq and Afghanistan. But for some reason, we think it's okay for them to fight the Syrian president's regime, and we are funding them, giving them weapons through Iraqi soldiers, through our U.S. government and our U.S. military, because we think that it is okay, that Free Syria needs Al-Qaeda. And for some reason, Al-Qaeda is going along with it because they trust us. Something's going on there, and we will definitely be looking into that when this is all over. I mean, the day that Bashir al-Assad is either dead or kills the rebels, I definitely will be doing a follow-up story on that. I mean, it's just kind of crazy how this is all playing out, and what does it exactly mean? I don't know, but I hope that there's a silver lining somewhere, which I don't think there is a silver lining anywhere in that. There can't be. It's all a bunch of mess. Anyway, that's all I got today. I know I was a little long-winded. I hope you got your daily dose of news, if you get your news from me. This is the Viiinceshow. Keep your mind open, and have a good one.